Hey everyone, we are going to work on finding the end time in word problems. So with word problems, you need to make sure that you're pulling out the information that you absolutely need to know. They will definitely try to trick you and throw in a lot of big words and just a lot of words in general to confuse you and throw you off. So I'm on page 599. I'm on lesson 27, session 3, starts on page 599. We did all the way up to 598 in class. So all of this should be done for time. If it's not, I just did a video talking about time, all of the basics with time and how to count by fives and what the hands mean and things like that. So check it out if you're not with me on page 599. Feel free to come back to this video. You need to read each problem 3 times, the blue words. Jenna gets home from school at 3:30 p.m. She does math homework for 10 minutes. Next, she does science homework for 15 minutes. Then she practices the piano for 22 minutes. What time does Jenna finish? On my board, I have drawn an analog clock, and I have the time of 3:30. My drawings are not going to be completely accurate. I'm human, and there is a little distortion there, but you get the idea. So the main things I pulled out from the story problem are, she gets home at 3:30, math for 10 minutes, science for 15 minutes, piano for 22 minutes, and then we need to find out when she was done. So they want to know the end time. They don't want to know how much time it took her. They want to know when she was done. If she starts at 3:30 and spends this much time on each of those subjects, when is she going to be done? So we have to start at 3:30, and math is 10 minutes. So each one of these is 5 minutes. There she is for math. You can feel free to draw this in that big blank space too, and follow along with me and pause as you go. So I'm going to cross that off because I did that and it tells my brain I did it. Science is 15 minutes. So now I'm going to jump 5, 10, 15. And I know here to here was science. This should be 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15. Each jump is 5 minutes, and that one is now done. Piano is 22 minutes. So I'm going to jump by 5s, and then I'm going to jump by 1s because this isn't 5 whole. There's 2 that are left over. So I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, and then that's when we're going to count by 1s. 21, 22. All right, cross it off. Double check. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. Do you see how I did that? Counted by 5s, and then I counted by 1s. So now I need to figure out what time is it? So we passed the 12. So that means it is no longer 3 o'clock. It is now 4. So I'll erase that. And then the minute hand moves to 2 spaces after the 3. The reason why I drew these hands this way is this is the hour hand. You always do the hour first. I talked about that in the other video, and I talked about it in class too. It's like a checkpoint. So you always do the hour first, then the minutes. We went past the 12, so it's now 4. We just jumped to the very next number, so don't let it confuse you. You were at 3, now you're at 4. You're not going to go from 3 to 5 unless you went around twice. So it's 4, and then this we know is 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. It is 4:17 when she is done. Now on the bottom, you can also use a number line because all you're doing with this is jumping those numbers. So what they did is they took this clock, or what I did is I took this clock and I laid it out into a straight line with the number line because you guys know how much I love the number line. It's so fun. So my starting point on the number line is 3:30 because she started at 3:30. Let me erase these so I know to do them on my number line. And this is a great way to check your work to see if you were right. So I'm going to check it Let me see if I get 417 on my number line as well. Now, we talked about a line plot last week. And with a line plot, you need to figure out where you start and where you end. I know I start at 3:30. I made it go to 4:30. And each one of these jumps, just like the clock, is 5 minutes. And in between, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. In between each one. I just didn't draw it because that takes a lot of work and time. And I know I'm going to be jumping by 5s primarily and then 1s. So my scale, how big my jumps are, is 5 minutes. My scale in between, if I need it, is 1 minute. So I'm going to start out at 3:30 and I'm going to jump 5, 10 minutes. This is math. All right, cross it off. Science, 15 minutes. 5, 10, 15. Check. This is science. Now, if I look, I'm at 3:55. Here I was at 3:55. Good, I'm doing great. Now I'm going to jump 22 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22. Now I can see if this is where I ended, and this is piano. And I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 16, 17. So it's 4:17. Did I get the same answer? Yes, I did. I did it 2 separate ways. On page 600 in your book, you can review everything that I just did. They made it color coded though. I did not because I wanted you to be able to see my dry erase markers. But here you are jumping by 5s and then jumping by 1s when you get down to those singular minutes that can't be grouped into bundles. Then down here, you have the number line. So again, they color coded it and then jumped. So if you are struggling with the clock and number line is easier, do the number line or do them both until you really understand how the clock works. On page 601, it says connected. Now you will use the problem to help you understand how to find the end time in word problems. Number 1, explain how to figure out the total elapsed time from the number of minutes Jenna spends doing her homework and practicing the piano. So the elapsed time is how much time had passed. Well, the answer to number 1, if you want to find it, is we need to count all of these jumps all together, and that will tell us how much time has passed. So I will go ahead and do that for us. Feel free again to pause and then watch this and see if you got it right. So we're going to start out at 3:30. I'm going to count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47. 47 minutes. That is one way to do it. There is another way. It's not as fun as jumping on the clock or jumping on the number line, but you could take all these numbers right here and say 0 plus 5 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. 47 minutes. The only problem with this one is if it goes past 60 minutes, you need to know that you have to pull out 60 of those minutes for an hour, and then the leftover would be your minutes. But again, I checked my work and I got 47 minutes. It took her 47 minutes to do math, science, and piano. Not bad. Number 2, explain how you can use the total elapsed time to find Jenna's end time for doing her homework and practicing the piano. So what that is saying is that if you don't know the time that she ended, but you do know how much time all of these took, you could first find out how much time it took, which was 47 minutes, and then add those 47 minutes on to 3:30 to find out what the elapsed time was. Oh, I'm sorry. To find out how much time it took her to get all of these done, which was 47 minutes, or her end time, which was 4:17. So it's just flipping it. So first we found out what time she was done, and then we found out the elapsed time. What they're saying is use the elapsed time to then find out how much was done. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit confusing. So first we went from 3:30 and we added all of these on to find out that she was done at 4:17. And then we said, okay, it took 47 minutes. What they're saying is instead of doing this first, find out how much all of this time it took, and then add on 47 minutes to 3:30. So then you would say 3:30, just like I did, and count all the way to 47. Number 3, what time does Jenna finish? 4:17 was the answer. Why did the hour number change? The hour number changed because our minute hand went past the 12. So this 12 represents a couple of different things on the clock. It represents 60 minutes when you're talking about the hour, or the minute hand, excuse me. It also represents 12 o'clock as an hour when you're dealing with the hour hand. So if the minute hand passes that, that means that 60 minutes have gone by. All of these little dashes here have gone by, and now it's no longer 3 o'clock for Jenna, it's 4 o'clock. So that is why the hour number changed. Number 4, explain how to find the end time when you know the start time and the total elapsed time. So that's kind of what number 2 was talking about. So if you're looking for the end time, but you know the start time, you can say she started at 3:30, and you can add on, instead of stopping at all these points, you can add on all of these 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47, and that will tell you the end time, which is 4:17. Now the next page is 6:02, and we're going to do the same thing with Nate and his dinner. So let me erase my board. Nate finishes dinner at 7:10 p.m. He does dishes for 15 minutes. Nice job. And then takes a shower for 10 minutes. Then he reads for 15 minutes before he goes to bed. What time does Nate go to bed? Show your work. I suggest doing the clock because we're doing time. But again, if you need that support of the number line, I'm never going to discourage the number line. All right, so first things first, I'm going to draw my time. At 7:10, he's done. So when you draw a clock, you're always going to have 12 up at the top, 3, 6, and 9, kind of like the 4 corners, but they're not really corners. And then you can fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11. So, and then you need a center. The hour hand is shorter and it comes first, 7, and then 10, 5, 10, and it's longer. So now my clock says 7:10 and matches yours in the book. He does dishes for 15. Remember, you'll have to pull out the most important information from your problem. Shower for 10. And he reads for 15 minutes. What time does Nate go to bed? So now we're trying to find the end time. We're not looking for how much time has passed with all this. We're looking for the end time. So it's 7:10. I'm going to jump 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15. This is his dishes. Done. Shower, 5, 10. Done. Reads for 15, 5, 10, 15. So this is where he stops. My minute hand is close to the 12, but it hasn't quite gotten to the 12. What that means is that as this minute hand scoots closer to the 12, this hour hand is going to scooch more towards the 8 because it's getting closer and closer and closer to 8 o'clock. It's still 7 o'clock though. So I'm going to leave the 7 there. And then this minute hand is going to come all the way over there. I know these are groups of 5, and 5 groups of 10 is going to be 50. So it is 750. Another way to do that is to say this is 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Or as you get more fluid with the clock and it becomes more automatic for you, you will someday be able to look at that and say, it's 7:50. Or it's 10 minutes before 8. Or it's 15 minutes after 7. So there's a lot of different ways, but normally you don't do that if it's either 10 minutes after or 10 minutes before, maybe even 15. That's when you do that. You're not going to say it's 50 minutes before 8. You're just not. I just used it as an example for you guys. So he finished at 7:50. You are going to show your work, so you should be jumping like that. Number 7, Carrie starts a phone call to her family at 11:45 a.m. And that is why it's really important that you put the a.m. or the p.m. because 11:45 p.m. would be very late at night, so you need to pay attention to that when you're reading these problems. She talks to her grandma for 10 minutes, then her grandpa for 5 minutes, and then her cousin for 8 minutes. What time does Carrie end the call? Use the number line to show your work. Awesome. So they give you a range from 11:45 to 12:15. And the scale is 1. 11:45. Okay, and then you have 15 little minutes in here. 1. So this is 11:50. This is 11:55. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4. This is 12:05. 12:10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why we've spent so much time talking about if you have 5 pieces, you have 4 lines, because then you can just go super fast. So now this matches yours. So 11:45 a.m. she talks to her grandma for 10 minutes. So grandma's 10 minutes. 5, 10. I'll put Gma. And that kind of tells me where I stopped. Then her grandpa for 5 minutes. Yep. Gpa. Done. And then her cousin for 8 minutes. And they want to know what time she ended. So we're going to jump 5. This is her cousin. It's a rule breaker. Normally OU says ow. So that's 5. And then I need to count because it's 8. Here's my 5. I need to count by ones. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm at 8 minutes. This is my end time. 5, 6, 7, 8. 12:08 is when she ended her call. Did you get the right answer? I hope so. If not, do it again until you do, because there's no harm in that. Rashid makes a stuffed bear at the toy store. He starts at 4:40 p.m. He spends 25 minutes at the stuffing table and 21 minutes at the decorating table before he is done. What time does he finish? All right, we're going back to the clock. So he starts at 4:40, 25, and 21. And really, that's all you need to know, is that I don't even have to write down the other things. So 12 and 3, 6, 9. Odd, even, odd, even. Cool little pattern. 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11. So 4:40. So your 4, because it's past the 30 mark, it's at 40, it's going to be closer to the 5 than the 4, because it's closer to 5 o'clock than it is to 4 o'clock. That makes sense. So my long hand is going to go there. It is now 4:40. Now I'm going to jump 25 minutes, and I'm going to jump 21 minutes to find out what time he ends. So 25 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I passed the 12. I told you it was closer to 5 than it is to 4. It was. So now it's no longer 4 o'clock. It's now 5 o'clock. So the hour hand is shorter. So now it's 5 o'clock. Now I'm going to move my minute hand. And I'm going to move my hand. I just moved it 25 minutes. Now I'm going to move it 21 minutes, excuse me. So I'm going to count by 5s and then by 1s. If you're counting by 5s, it's going to end in 0 or 5. If it doesn't end in 0 or 5, you know you're going to have to count by 1s. So here's where I ended. I'm going to count 21. 5, 10, 15, 20, 21. And this is where your new minute hand is going to go. So it's now 5. And now we have to figure out what time it is. So I'm going to start out at the 12. I'm going to say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, plus that 1 is 26. It's 5:26. And then you would write PM. Post meridian. He did not start in the morning. Next couple ones are the same thing. So you're going to do filling in the number line, and you're going to say, if it takes her 20 minutes, what time is it now? And then you're going to fill in how many jumps. So this one would be 20 minutes. This one is 10 minutes. And this one is 12 minutes. So when you are going on the number line, you're going to label your jumps. And then it says Alma goes home at, and you're going to have to find out where it is. You're going to count by 5s and then 1s. Juanita gets in line for the safari ride at 11:55 a.m. She waits in line for 8 minutes. The ride lasts 7 minutes. What time does she get off the ride? Okay, that one is tricky because it says she waits in line for 8 minutes. The ride lasts 7 minutes. What time does she get off the ride? They didn't ask how long it took her from when she got in line to when she got off the ride. So the only thing you're going to count are those 7 minutes. So you're going to do 11:55 and add 7 minutes. So don't let it trick you because they're trying to trick you there. And then you're going to do the rest of these. These are just practice. Jay goes outside at 10:50 a.m. and spends 35 minutes looking for worms. Then he takes 10 minutes. What time does Jay leave to go fishing? So then you're going to have to go back and tell us what time he actually left. I'm more than happy to help with those, but those are supporting everything that we've done so far. Those green pages are for support. If it's too much and your parents are okay with it, I'm okay with you taking time to do those or doing them as the school year continues. All right, so I hope that helps. Have fun. It's a lot of fun. Bye, guys.